Welcome back to my channel The Psych Lens. Today we are taking a trip back in time to explore the roots of modern psychology. We are diving into the fascinating origins of this field and uncovering three foundational schools of thought: structuralism, functionalism, and behaviorism. These approaches shaped how we understand the mind and behavior today. So, buckle up, this is where psychology began. Psychology, as a formal field of study, is relatively young. Although people have been curious about the human mind for thousands of years, psychology only became a science in the late 19th century. Before that, questions about human thought and behavior were mostly explored by philosophers. In 1879, a German psychologist named Wilhelm Wundt established the first experimental psychology lab in Leipzig, Germany. This moment is considered the official birth of psychology as a scientific discipline. Wundt's approach focused on breaking down mental processes into their most basic elements. This gave rise to the first school of thought in psychology, that is, structuralism. Structuralism, the earliest school of psychology, was introduced by Edward B. Titchener, a student of Wilhelm Wundt. This approach sought to explore the inner workings of the mind by analyzing its most basic elements, such as sensations, perceptions, and emotions. Teschner believed that by understanding these components, we could grasp how the mind works in its entirety. Imagine you are looking at a slice of cake. A structuralist wouldn't just ask if you enjoy it, they would break the experience down. What do you taste? What texture do you feel? What memories or emotions does it trigger? To get these answers, Titchener used a method called introspection, which involved asking trained participants to describe their thoughts and feelings in detail when exposed to stimuli. While introspection was innovative, it had significant drawbacks. It relied heavily on subjective reports, which varied from person to person. Critics argued that it lacked scientific reliability and couldn't be applied to study animals, children, or people with mental illnesses. As a result, structuralism gradually faded, but it laid an important foundation for experimental methods in psychology. In contrast to structuralism's inward focus, functionalism looked outward. Developed in the United States by thinkers like William James, functionalism emphasized the purpose of mental processes, how they help us adapt to our environment and function in daily life. Rather than dissecting mental experiences, James asked questions like: what is the purpose of fear? How does memory aid survival? How does attention improve learning? These practical questions made psychology more relevant and applicable to real world issues. Functionalism also drew inspiration from Charles Darwin's theory of evolution. Just as physical traits evolved to help organisms survive, James proposed that mental processes evolve to help us thrive in changing environments. This led to broader research into behavior, motivation, learning, and child development. Functionalism's emphasis on adaptability and practical application had a lasting impact. It opened the door for applied psychology in schools, workplaces, and mental health clinics. While functionalism didn't survive as a formal school of thought, its spirit lives on in modern fields like cognitive and educational psychology. By the early 20th century, psychologists were seeking more objective ways to study human behavior. Enter behaviorism, a school of thought led by John B. Watson and later expanded by B. F. Skinner. Behaviorists believed that psychology should focus only on observable and measurable behavior, not on thoughts, emotions, or consciousness. Watson famously declared that psychology should be as scientific and objective as chemistry or physics. According to behaviorism, behavior is shaped by environmental stimuli, not internal thoughts. One of the most well known experiments illustrating this is Pavlov's dogs, where dogs learn to salivate at the sound of a bell that had been repeatedly paired with food. B. F. Skinner built on this idea through his work on operant conditioning, showing how rewards and punishments influence behavior. He used devices like the Skinner box to study how animals learn new behaviors through reinforcement. Behaviorism brought rigorous scientific methods into psychology. It emphasized repeatable experiments, data collection, and observable results, though later replaced by more comprehensive theories that included cognitive and emotional factors. Behaviorism's influence remains strong, especially in behavioral therapy, education, and habit formation. So, there you have it, the origin story of psychology, from Wundt's introspective structuralism to James' adaptive functionalism, and finally to Watson and Skinner's scientific behaviorism. Each school of thought played a crucial role in shaping the field we know today. These early theories helped transform psychology into the diverse and dynamic science it is now. Whether you are more drawn to studying the mind or behavior it produces, understanding these roots gives you a deeper appreciation for how we think, feel, and act. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and answer the questions. Those are displayed by commenting below. Which psychological approach do you find most interesting? Comment below.